And the song is right. God has done great things for us and for our family. All right, I guess it's my turn. For tonight's event, my dad asked me to speak about what happened in 1990. I thought, how in the world am I going to talk about that night without falling apart in front of everybody? But I also thought, God has done a wonderful job, and He has done many miracles for our family.
Steve Elton, and he's recording better. It has better.
That's yours?
Yeah.
In 1990, my dad had his first kidney transplant. Within a couple of days, his body started rejecting the kidney. And as part of the rejection process, please bear with me. As part of the rejection process, Dad had grandma's seizure. Luckily, I happened to be in the room, as I usually am every night after school. When that happened, I rang. Daddy's room was right next to the nursing station. So I rang the call light for the nurses. Even though the time, I guess I couldn't measure time, everything to me was slow. The nurses were not getting there in time. And before I knew it, Daddy flatlined. All the machines in the room just went off. I ran to the nursing station and I just told them what happened, and before I knew it, all the nurses, the doctors, the chaplains, there was an influx of different people coming into the room. And then they asked me to get out of the room, and I refused. And I don't even know when they brought the machines. They resuscitated Dad the first time. Dad did not respond. They resuscitated him again the second time, no response. Third time, no response. The doctors and nurses turned to me and they tried it again for the fourth time. The fourth time, Daddy responded. And then they immediately rushed Daddy to ICU. God is a merciful God. He is a miraculous worker, and He worked a miracle for me, our family, and especially for our dad that night. If someone had told me 24 years ago that we would be here celebrating Daddy's 70th birthday, I would say that person is lying. Now, because we serve a living God, and we serve a mighty God, He made that day possible. I would like to seize this opportunity to say a heartfelt thank you to quite a few people. Auntie Victoria, Mr. Pinsala Gomez, Auntie Akul, Uncle Sam Fuji, Auntie Charlotte, and Uncle Charles, Grandma Selena, Evelyn, Mama Linda, our GSI family at that time. There are a few people here. George, Dr. Nakwa, a very good friend of ours, Mr. Roy Gabriel. Without your prayers and support, I don't know what I would have done. I was 3 years into this country. I was 20 years old. I was so lost. I didn't know what to do. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being there for my dad. Thank you for being there for our family. As a sign of my gratitude and for all the wonderful things that God has done for us, I'd like to invite my nephew, TJ, to read Psalm 138. TJ? I'm sorry everybody for crying. That day was just a moment that took my mind.
Psalm 138 of David. I will praise you, Lord, with all my heart. Before the gods, I will sing your praise. I will bow down toward your holy temple and will praise your name for your unfailing love and your faithfulness. For have you so exalted your solemn decree that it surpasses your fame. When I called, you answered me. You greatly emboldened me. May all the kings of the earth praise you, Lord. When they hear what you have decreed, may they sing of the ways of the Lord, for the glory of the Lord is great. Though the Lord is exalted, he looks kindly on the lowly. Though lofty, he sees them from afar. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. You stretch out your hand against the anger of my foes. With your right hand you save me. The Lord will vindicate me. Your love, Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the work of your hands. And that's the end of Psalm 138 of David.
Thank you, TJ. I'll invite Uncle Akol.
Today, let's take a few moments to give thanks to the Lord for giving us a chance to be here to celebrate our brother's birthday. I guess I'm the grandfather of the community. Yes. I've always marveled at Francis. He really surprises me. He's a great guy. He does things that a lot of guys will not be able to understand based on history. And I'm here this evening to also testify to the miracle of faith. Well, it all started some 30 years ago when we were small, a small community. At that time, you could count the number of Ghanaians here with maybe one hand or maybe two hands. Very small community, and we were very close. We celebrated Christmas together and Thanksgiving, and we really were a very nice community. We were like pioneers from Ghana. Okay? And so we knew each other very well. Our children knew each other. And it just happened that, unfortunately, we had an incident back in the 1990s where a whole world turned upside down. Our friend and brother was taken very ill. And for about several days and weeks, we didn't know what to expect. Eventually, the medical authorities decided that, or determined that Francis had gone to the other side. As is always the case, when somebody passes away from the hospital, they expect the immediate family to come by and give consent to dismiss the body. Fortunately for us, the immediate family were all minors, and so they were not competent to do it. They were high school students and they couldn't do it. So they were counting on his adult friends to do the necessary events. Now you can imagine, you can truly imagine what a calamity we were all in. So, it's the first time that I would say that procrastination is a good thing. Okay? The procrastinate is good. The hesitate is good. Well, it was days after we knew that this was going to happen. And we didn't do anything about it. But something happened. And you may believe it or not, and I believe it, that during this period of time, we were trying to figure out what to do, Francis took a leave of absence. He actually left his body behind and went to the gates of heaven and asked for permission to come back. Thanks to God. We were very surprised that in time his body began to revive after he was refused entry into heaven. He actually told him that, Francis, you're not ready. You got to go back and finish what you have to do. So Francis came back, and within days and weeks, he was released and went back home. And that effectively was a phase in the life of Francis, which we are also delighted that today it's very inconceivable to see Francis as he sits here because he's been to the other side. Sometimes, these miracles happen. They happen in history. They happen in the Bible. I believe that he did try to go and then they kicked him out. Okay? Now, why did he come back? Why did he come back? He was told that he had to come back and finish his job. So he came back and ensured that his 4 beautiful daughters were raised beautifully, went to high school and college. During this period, he also saw and raised 9 beautiful grandchildren. Okay? 8 boys and 1 girl, and I said that he wants to form a basketball team. Which he still has a contract to do. Okay? Well, in the process, we ask ourselves, what is a man's worth? A man's worth the effort and the ability to raise their children. And Francis has got the chance to do that. And we do thank God for the opportunity for Francis to go through the process of being the man. Now, I guess Francis is here. He's done what he promised to do when he came back. He raised his children, his grandchildren, and everything is going beautifully. But that's not the end of it. Francis and I talk quite often. As going on about discussion and conversations, I happen to mention that I have about 6 grandchildren, and Francis says, "No, I'll beat you to it. I got 9." I said, "Okay, no problem." But I beat you on one level. I have the 3rd generation of children. And Francis says, Francis didn't actually say anything, but you can see on Francis' face. His eyes were lit, and he was ready to tell me that, Echo, you're not going to get away with this. Okay? So, the next phase of Francis's existence, as he let me know, is that he's going to be around to celebrate his great-grandchildren.
Amen.
Okay? And that means that Francis is going to be here to celebrate his 90th.
Amen.
In the year 2034, we're going to gather here, and this time Francis is going to tell Echo, I also have 3rd generation of children.
Amen.
And I took care of them. Okay? So Francis, it has been a pleasure knowing you, and it's been a pleasure being a friend of yours. And as we say in our little blog, Akunas Matata.